Residents of Pioneersky, where one of Putin's residences is located, complained to him that the city was in a depressed state. A city in the Kaliningrad region was deprived of its resort status. The local port was not finished, the roads are not being repaired, and in some places there are no roads at all.
A petition was sent to your address, which collected 15% of signatures from city residents within a week. We ask you to pay close attention to the serious problems that have arisen.
Because of complaints like these, people in Russia become unemployed. In Novodvinsk-Arkhangelsk region, they are going to terminate the employment contract with the ambulance paramedic Pavel Selivanov. He was one of the 170 doctors who complained to Putin about low salaries. They receive less than 39,000 rubles, although according to the law, doctors should be paid about 71,000 rubles.
There are a lot of expenses, paying for a flat, someone has a mortgage, children, they need to get them ready for school, buy groceries and so on. And for some reason, the salaries of medical workers remain at a low level. In healthcare here, when you work full-time, there is nothing to live on. But when you work 2 times, there is no time to live. Pavel Selivanov, ambulance paramedic, from a publication on the 29.ru website.
The chief doctor of the Novodvinsk ambulance said that they were going to hire another paramedic to replace Selivanov, and supposedly there are no more vacancies. But according to Selivanov, the substation lacks more than 24 specialists.
There will be dismissals due to the fact that the Kremlin held a closed meeting with the regions and they accordingly gave instructions to the specific places. If there are negative reviews now during the so-called circus with elections, then accordingly the heads of the bosses will roll. That's why everyone at the lowest level has been warned from the vertical of this power of the bosses that there should be no complaints, at least in the period until March 17th. Such a moratorium has been announced.
And Russians have plenty of reasons to complain. In Rostov-on-Don, a state of emergency was introduced due to the collapse of the entrance to a residential building. Authorities evacuated 95 residents. The Ministry of Emergency Situations reported that the building was recognized as unsafe and subject to demolition back in 2020. Then allegedly, people were offered to move into a flexible fund, but they refused, says the head of the city administration, Alexei Logvinenko. Residents of the building called the mayor's statement a lie.
While Putin is waging this war, this will happen everywhere and accordingly similar. I would not call it natural collapses, but it will continue. There are, after all, man-made sins when local budgets, federal budgets really do not have enough funds to maintain the normal functioning of those industries that are necessary for people's livelihoods. So there everything is really going to war.
In Siberia, volunteers help those in need to collect firewood so they can survive the winter. People live in private houses and they, like 2 centuries ago, have stove heating. These are pensioners, large families, people with disabilities, everyone who can't afford firewood.
Our stove is heated with wood. The firewood machine costed 10,000 rubles for 5 cubic meters. We lived like this for 2 months. Moreover, the remains of the croaker helped. Now we are completely tapped out. There is enough wood left for a week and a half. I have no relatives. There is no one to wait for help from. We are doing what we can. Lyudmila Yaskova, resident of the Shalinskaya village, Krasnoyarsk region, from a publication by the Novaya Gazeta.
Siberia contains 88% of Russian natural gas reserves, but Siberia is the most ungasified region of the country. Less than 17% of households here have access to gas.
This requires enormous funds for investments and installation of these pipelines. The authorities are not at all interested in this. They are focused on pumping out resources and trying to sell them abroad.
The power of Siberia gas pipeline pumps gas to China, but the residents of Siberia are not particularly promised any gas. For example, by 2027, gasification in the Irkutsk region is planned to be increased from the current 1% to 3.2%. And in the Siberian Federal District as a whole, blue fuel will have to be provided for 140 settlements. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Bil, UATV News.